Okay, I am so privileged to introduce to everybody Andrea Allen. I've known her for several years now, and it's just a great thing to be able to be on the campus at A-State with her and see all the stuff that she's doing. But let me tell you a bit about her. She is the executive director of the Arkansas State University Delta Center for Economic Development, serving in that capacity since October of 2018. And the mission of the Delta Center is to build strong communities beyond campus by creating economic development synergy between the university and local stakeholders. With extensive expertise in local, state, and national government, Andrea's career includes over 20 years of identifying and connecting resources to improve lives and enrich communities. From 2011 to 2016, she established and directed 3 district offices for a U.S. congressman and led the development and delivery of government resources and services in the congressman's district. Now, previously, Andrea served as director of family programs for the National Training Center of the Army National Guard. She was policy director for a gubernatorial campaign, operations director for one of the fastest growing municipalities in Arkansas, and 6 years on the staff of a U.S. senator. She is a native of Walnut Ridge, Arkansas, and a graduate of Arkansas State University. She was appointed by Governor Asa Hutchinson to serve as commissioner on the Arkansas Tobacco Settlement Commission, and she serves on the boards of the Northeast Arkansas Children's Shelter and Hoxie the First Stand. Andrea is also the co-chair and co-founder of NEA Political Animals. So I'm proud to have Andrea give us our program and talk to us about the Delta Center for Economic Development. Thank you, Andrea.
Well, thank you, Jill. That was very nice. And NEA Political Animals is about as political as I want to get these days. It's so ugly. I'm glad I'm out of that. But thank you for inviting me to kick off this month's Rotary theme of community and economic development. Before I begin, I need to mention how sorry I am for the loss of one of your members, Stephen Farmer. I got to know Steve really through NEA Political Animals, and he was always such a kind, good man, and he was certainly going to be missed. As Jill so kindly said, I'm Andrea Allen, Executive Director of the Arkansas State University Delta Center for Economic Development. I'm a native of Walnut Ridge, and I believe Northeast Arkansas is the greatest place to call home. However, I have watched the mechanization of agriculture and changes in technology completely change our small towns. Outside of Jonesboro and Paragould, our cities are losing population, jobs, and wealth. Well, I love where I grew up, and I want to reverse what has been occurring, and the Delta Center at Arkansas State University gives me the perfect opportunity to make a difference. Now, I'm assuming you all know Jarrett Free, who's a member of your Rotary Club, but he also works at the Delta Center. He should probably be speaking today, but he's a valued member of the Delta Center team. He's director of our University Center, which is a designation given to us by the U.S. Economic Development Administration. And what a university center does is connect communities and business interests to the expertise and resources found on campus. I refer to Jared as our #1 salesperson. He does not visit a community without bringing back a whole lot of tasks, so we're very lucky to have him. Take a look at that. Truer words have never been spoken, as when Doc said in Back to the Future, Marty, whatever happens, don't ever go to 2020. Early spring of this year saw us shutting down our schools, the university, our small businesses, and our way of life. And then a tornado ripped through our city. I don't know about you, but I still can't watch the video of Zach Holder and Ryan Vaughn as that tornado was coming through Jonesboro without crying. But Jonesboro truly shines in a crisis, and today I'm even more proud to be a resident of Jonesboro as we are emerging stronger than ever before. Today, I want to give you an overview of what we do at the Delta Center, as well as talk a little about one of our current initiatives. The Delta Center is the Community and Economic Development Outreach Center for A-State with the mission of building strong communities beyond campus. Included as a part of the Delta Center is the University Center, A-State Innovate, and Arkansas Manufacturing Solutions. We operate in 3 facilities, the main location on campus, the Workforce Development and Training Center, and A-State's shop location is out in the industrial park, and A-State Innovate's garage is also located on campus. The Delta Center is currently a team of 9, plus we house employees of the Small Business Technology Development Center, which is a very valuable partner in our community and economic development efforts. The services we provide include business services and facilities, technical and strategic assistance to communities and business, professional development and training, and innovation and entrepreneurship assistance. At our main facility on campus, we have a beautiful large conference room available to rent for community or business meetings for a very minimal price. And when I say that, it's available to rent as long as Jill's not using it for whatever class she is having at the time. We also have a small boardroom available to rent, and we'll provide beverage services and even coordinate catering for you if your business would like to use our space for a meeting. In addition, we have business incubator space to lease at the facility in the industrial park. And we also do that for businesses that need a temporary place to land. One of your members is actually in one of our office spaces at the moment. The lease amount is set to help new startups grow and build their capacity. Most recently, we leased office space to Delta Peanut while Tommy Jumper was organizing and getting their facility built. I understand Tommy Jumper will be speaking to you later this month, and I assure you he will be informative, but he will also be very entertaining. I think a lot of Tommy. We technical and strategic assistance to communities and business. What does that mean? I mentioned earlier that Jarrett was the director of the University Center. In 2018, Arkansas State University was designated a University Center by the Economic Development Administration. University centers exist to connect community needs to university expertise and resources. And I know Ruth Hawkins is on here. She was an expert that we had called on before, and she's missed. So yeah, Ruth, we miss you a lot. This can also include economic data analysis, such as economic impact reports, feasibility studies, case studies, housing studies, retail studies, and other research. It can also be something as simple as connecting a local official to a funding agency. A good example occurred yesterday as Jarrett and I attended the City of Jonesboro's funding announcement for rail storage expansion in Jonesboro's Industrial Park. One thing that wasn't mentioned was that the funding for this project developed out of a conversation with Mayor Perring, during which we suggested the Economic Development Administration as possibly funding the project. We then facilitated the first meeting between EDA officials and the city to determine their eligibility. And then yesterday we saw what happened. Another example is tapping into the strengths of our students. A mayor in one of our smaller Northeast Arkansas cities contacted us about needing a sketch of a proposed city park. He was wanting to apply for a grant for the park, and he had to have a sketch. But like most of our small towns, they don't have a lot of money to spend on these things. Jarrett worked with the College of Engineering to identify an engineering student who was eager to help. The student earned a little money, gained some experience, and saved the city a whole lot of money. Delta Center also facilitates strategic planning. Most recently, we partnered with Dr. Bill Rowe, a College of Business professor at Arkansas State, to write a strategic plan for the city of Osceola, who wanted to capitalize on their music heritage and draw tourists to the area. COVID-19 and upcoming city council elections have slowed the project a little. The strategic plan is completed, but they are wanting to move into a feasibility study on one of the areas identified in the strategic plan and further develop that. But they have us on hold right now, I think, until we get through the elections, but we look forward to working with them more on that project. Professional development and training. The Delta Center also provides professional development classes and training. We're part of a university consortium that administers the Delta Regional Authority's 8-state leadership program. And if you aren't familiar with this leadership program, I urge you to visit the Delta Regional Authority's website to learn more about it. And then I hope you will apply to be a part of the program in the future. The relationships formed through this leadership program have paid great dividends all the way across the Delta through the sharing of best practices, learning about new resources, and honing leadership skills. Most studies, or many studies, I should say, cite the lack of strong leadership as a top issue in the Delta region, and we're hopeful that this program will help change that. Additionally, the Delta Center offers programs for individuals and organizations who are seeking professional development opportunities. For individuals, we have ongoing classes such as project management and on-demand classes or customized training, I should say, such as for grants or nonprofits. The project management course will give individuals the hours they need to take the project management professional exam and become certified through the Project Management Institute. And study after study and report after report show how much additional salary people can earn once they receive their PMP certification. You can visit the Delta Center's website to learn more information about this class and as other classes develop. I mentioned Arkansas Manufacturing Solutions earlier. AMS is a division of the Arkansas Economic Development Commission, and we have a service agreement with AMS to offer its services through A-State employees of the Delta Center. These employees work with manufacturers across Arkansas on things such as lean manufacturing training, Kata, Six Sigma, to name a few. They also provide consulting services to manufacturers on improvement processes. The Delta Center works with our professors on campus to customize training as identified by business and industry. Throughout the pandemic, our in-house partner, the Small Business Technology Development Center, has been really busy with Zoom trainings to help our small businesses stay afloat. This training ranges from how to obtain financing to selling products online and the usage of social media. If any of you have a class you feel would be beneficial to individuals or organizations, I hope that you will let us know. We'd love to work with you. And innovation and entrepreneurship assistance. I believe if there's anything positive to come out of the pandemic, it will be the renewed interest in innovation and entrepreneurship. After all, we spent many hours at home thinking of new ideas to make being home easier, and so innovation has greatly increased in our thinking, and just providing the tools for entrepreneurs to take that to market is important. Also, manufacturing is returning to the United States, and we have to continue efforts to develop a culture of innovation and entrepreneurship. In 2017, A-State Innovate opened its doors utilizing a grant, which helped leverage additional funding and resources from both the public and private sectors. A-State Innovate is an entrepreneur's one-stop shop. By integrating innovation and support for startups, A-State Innovate offers opportunities for entrepreneurs who wish to bring an idea to the marketplace. I mentioned two locations earlier, the garage, a makerspace that's located on campus, the shop, an industrial workspace located in the industrial park, and there's also a third location known as the lab or the catalyst located at the Arkansas Bioscience Institute on campus. This wet lab space for innovators and entrepreneurs really sets us apart from others. I'm told it's the only one of its kind in the Mid-South, and it's certainly something for us to be proud of and promote. Some highlights from A-State Innovate include leveraging over $600,000 in cash and in-kind donations, engaging 95 students in projects, have 15 clients with patents pending, have 7 clients who've already received patents, and we've had a client who has already generated $1 million in new product revenue. That's good for that individual, it's good for A-State Innovate, and it's good for Jonesboro. During the pandemic shutdown, A-State Innovate was able to partner with Anchor Packaging to produce a 3D printed part to make face shields for hospitals in the area. Out of all the highlights, that's probably the one I'm most proud of because we were able to really make a difference when it was needed. Now, our current initiative, a couple months ago, we were notified by the Economic Development Administration Regional Office in Austin that the two university centers in Arkansas, the Delta Center and the Arkansas Economic Development Institute at UALR, were being asked to undertake a 24-month project to historically document the impact of COVID-19 in Arkansas and develop recovery and resiliency strategies. To begin our efforts, we named a statewide advisory board and asked the 8 planning and development districts in Arkansas to create regional task force. Together, all of these groups have helped guide our documentation efforts and will lead to the development of recovery and resiliency strategies for each region of the state, as well as the state as a whole. Since we started this project, we've interviewed just over 500 Arkansans in the healthcare, small business, manufacturing, education, and governmental sectors. Here you will see the 10 most common issues identified about the pandemic through our statewide interviews. 1, inconsistent guidance, and that was conflicting guidance from all levels of government and different jurisdictions. 2, broadband availability. We all hear about that, and many of our rural areas still do not have adequate broadband access for students, employees, hospitals, patients, etc. Restaurants, number 3. Restaurants were commonly the hardest hit in most communities and have really struggled to adapt and stay afloat. In June, according to the Department of Finance and Administration, food services and drinking places taxable sales were down 4% from the previous year. In April, taxable sales were down 22.8% from April of the previous year. In lodging and hospitality, in June, accommodation taxable sales were down 40.9% from June of 2019, and in April, taxable sales were down 66.8% from the previous year. The source on that, again, was the Arkansas Department of Finance and Administration. In some communities, lodging was hit the hardest. Many lodging and tourism travel were not eligible for the PPP loans that I'm sure anyone in the banking business is familiar with PPP loans. And that made the impact of COVID and closures even harder. 5, healthcare. According to the Arkansas Hospital Association, hospitals are estimated to face a net impact by the end of the state's fiscal year of a little over $779 million. If you subtract the relief funding, that impact is estimated at a net loss of $615 million. Incremental costs to hospitals through April were estimated at $34,850,000. Outpatient and emergency department visitation by late March were reduced by 35% and 47% respectively compared to last year. The interruptions in services costed an estimated $271 million by the end of April. And that's just all about the dollars. If you look at those who delayed visits, checkups, routine checkups, physicals, we aren't even considering the healthcare implications and what may be to come, a year from now. 6, assessing funds. This one is a little bit dated now, but when we started this project, we heard a whole lot about it. Counties had not yet received CARES Act funding, and then once they did, it might not cover exactly what they needed it to cover. PPE reserves, the cost and availability of PPE. That one, according to the Arkansas Medical Society, the requests for PPE across our state have trended down since mid-May, but the cost and availability do still continue to be an issue. Emergency plans. Most governmental entities do have emergency plans, but a lot of businesses and organizations did not. Additionally, most governmental entities' plans did not include a pandemic component, and any that did, they didn't include a plan to resume operations if there were a shutdown. 9, remote education, broadband, food insecurity for the at-risk population, loss of revenue in programs that are fee-based are all issues concerning remote education. And then rural areas, the worry of a false sense of security and struggle with resources, healthcare, and broadband. So these issues have given us a baseline along with economic numbers. Our state has certainly fared better than the nation in terms of unemployment, bouncing back in personal income levels. This had a lot to do with the additional boost from the federal government in unemployment dollars. Some of our people were actually making more on unemployment than they were by working during that time. And this also kept our spending levels high. Rural areas saw an increase in taxes, believe it or not, as people were buying locally and not driving to Jonesboro, Paragould, or Memphis, and also ordering goods over the internet. Our statewide advisory board includes several members of the state legislature who've asked that we take all of these things and put together recommendations that they can take to the governor. So we're still in the early stages of the project, but we're excited to possibly affect positive change. So what's next in this project? We are working on a COVID recovery website that will contain a multitude of resources and updates. In addition, it will have a link to a dashboard that we are creating in partnership, of course, with AEDI that offers an interactive perspective of the social and economic impacts the pandemic is having on the state of Arkansas. And I'm going to show you a little bit about that right now, if I can get to it. Here we go. So this is the website with the address up here, and we have information broken down by the planning and development districts, resources, and then the data and dashboard I wanted to show you. Okay, and so here, the household pulse, that's taken directly from the U.S. Census Bureau, and you can look at things like the level of anxiety or depression expressed by household. And sometimes it can be a little frightening to see some of these things. Arkansas started out in March, I guess, in April, higher on people who were expressing anxiety or depression. Then we took a dip down, and we're actually moving back up, trending upwards again. So that's something to keep an eye on. Arkansas Ready for Learning has school district information, including access to internet. And so you can go into here, and on the map, you can click into different areas, and you can see where the internet access is or is not. Jonesboro, you can go through all the different school districts. And so, Jill, this may even be something helpful to the College of Education to look at. It is still a work in process. We're still gathering data. It's coming from the U.S. Census Bureau, Department of Labor, and even some surveys that we're sending out. And so stay tuned to this. It hasn't even been publicly released yet, so you're kind of getting an early view, but it's a work in progress, and I think it's going to contain a lot of very helpful information. And, you know, I'm thankful to our partner AEDI, which houses the state data centers. They've been a very important part to all of this. Go back to the other screen here. Okay. In the second 12 months of this effort, we're going to be focused on the development and implementation of resiliency strategies. Some of the things that would include is business continuity training, emergency management training, and just how to include a pandemic in those emergency management plans, crisis communications for local leaders, to try to get away from the inconsistent guidance that was given early on, and just work with mayors and county judges and chambers about how to convey information to the residents. You know, this is all in the development stage too. If you know of any training that would be helpful out in our communities, I hope that you will let us know. If you would like to offer any training, please let us know that as well. So I know that this is kind of a quick overview. There's a whole lot of information that we could share. And I know it's not so easy to do Q&A on Zoom. So I wanted to leave our contact information. I only put myself in Jarrett because you know Jarrett. But any questions that you have, if there's any strategic planning we can help facilitate, economic research or analysis, professional development, we're happy to help with all those projects. Universities are giant learning labs, but without strong communities, the strength of our university will diminish. We all need each other. So again, thanks for having me today. I look forward to working with each of you to build strong communities all across our state. Thank you.
I appreciate you coming and sharing with us and all that information. That website, so the website you showed us is not live yet.
It is live. You can get to the website now.
Okay.
We still have some updates, which is why we haven't publicly announced that it's out there yet.
Okay, I got you. Okay. It looked like I had some interesting information. I'm gonna go out there and try to look at some of that.
And I will share with our faculty here at A-State the internet information you can get from all the districts, because that is a big problem. And anyway, so I'll be a conduit for that. Beautiful building. If you haven't seen it, you should. It's just a beautiful building.